The 5 superpowers are the 5 most powerful countries in the world. The USA, China, Russia, United Kingdom, and France are labeled as these powers. They have apparently been trying to get stronger for years with their military forces, yet they are still only superpowers. What is so special about these countries? 1. The United States of America (USA) is one of the best examples of a superpower. It's an independent country that has many things that no other country can have or do. For example, money, military strength, and the most advanced technology in the world. The USA is a federal system where power is spread between the state and local governments. The country has one of the most powerful armies and nuclear weapons. The government. There are 3 branches: executive, legislative, and judicial. 2. China is a place that has been at war from the 1900s to the 2000s. Words like communism, capitalism, and industrialization have been used to describe it as a very industrialized country because of its population working in industries as factory workers making everything from toys to iPhones and TVs, etc. It's a communist country, so it doesn't have a president or king but a main political leader to guide them in the right direction, along with many other leaders who keep things going behind him, e.g., legally, the president is the head of the state, party and military. China government. It's a one-party political system with an all-powerful communist party. 3. Russia is a very powerful country in Eastern Europe, bordered by Norway, Finland and its neighbor Kazakhstan. It's also known for being the coldest country in the world because of its weather. There are many problems that can lead to war, but not many different reasons why they would start a war with other countries around it, because it could get very scary for them if they start another war. Russia is a very powerful country with a huge army and nuclear weapons. 4. The United Kingdom is a small island on the eastern side of Europe. It's also known as Britain because it's a land of many different people who all have different origins and cultures. It has been around for thousands of years, going back to Roman times, but this country is no longer an empire. They are currently a member of the Commonwealth of Nations. They have an incredibly efficient navy, making them one of the most powerful sea powers in the world. The United Kingdom is an island country located off the northern coast of Europe that was named after England by Vikings who set up trading posts on its shores. 5. France is a very important country in Europe. Its capital Paris is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. It's known for many things, like art, old architecture. It was born in 466. The French Revolution began there, so it's also known for its revolution and revolutions. France can be called one of the 5 superpowers because of its military power and the sheer number of men fighting for them in combat. They are also one of the most powerful countries because they have nuclear weapons, and they are very close to Germany, which has nuclear weapons too, making them more powerful than other countries even though they don't have as much wealth or land. Who will be the next global superpower? This is a question that has been asked and debated for centuries. For centuries, no country has risen to the global superpower position. It may seem like Russia, China, and the United States are gaining ground on one another, but these countries will not be the next superpower in the next century or so. The dominant global power of this century will be determined by certain key factors: its economic strength, its international political influence, and how it manages its population size and growth rate. It's still too soon to tell which country will become the next dominant global power, but they'll most likely be different than both Russia and America's models in terms of culture, politics, economics, geography, history, etc. A country can become a global superpower by having a strong economy. The strongest economies in the world are those of the United States and China, making them 2 of the front runners as potentially the next global superpower. Both countries have very high GDPs and high exchange rates for other currencies, making them economically very strong countries. But America and China will not be future global superpowers because their economies are fundamentally flawed. They consume more than they produce and need to rely on imports for much of their natural resource needs, including oil and food. Both countries account for 31% of global oil consumption. That is why they imported about 80% of it from foreign sources. In addition, both countries have a very heavy reliance on foreign oil imports especially from unstable Middle Eastern nations. Both countries use their large economies to become the world's leading military superpower as well as a diplomatic power power broker. They both have great international political influence over other nations and control the UN Security Council. In fact, the US has more influence than ever over economic development policies and strategies in Latin America and Africa through its influence on IMF and World Bank policies that determine how these regions of the world will be developed. China is beginning to make an impact on the international political landscape with its One Belt One Road initiative that will increase its global diplomatic influence. America may become a global superpower by using the tactics of another global superpower, China. China is growing rapidly, but its population has yet to reach the 400 million mark. China is relying more on imports of raw materials and oil than it is on domestic production. It needs to speed up this process because even though it's already the world's largest consumer of oil, it also imports more oil than any other country in human history. If China continues to consume so much oil, it may run out by 2050, leaving the United States as the only major supplier for global demand. What is the world government? The outcome of this question will have lasting effects on our future, both good and evil. China and America will both be trying to gain as much power as possible, so the rivalry between these two countries is growing more intense. If China becomes a global superpower, its government will support an authoritarian form of government at home with a strong economy and military for external threats such as America. If America becomes a global superpower, its government will support a democratic form of government for global influence with a strong economy and military for external threats such as China. If neither country becomes a global superpower or we enter into a world war, we could still face a high likelihood of nuclear conflict that would be devastating for all of mankind. Global superpowers have to work together and combine their strengths and weaknesses to form a world government in order to protect the environment and ensure the survival of mankind in this volatile time in history.